It used to be so funny playing hide and seek with Hubert when he was younger. He would cover his head and think that made him invisible. He would stand in the corner with his head under a lampshade and I would pretend I couldn't see him. Then I would wander around the room, commentating on my search for Hubert. As I would get closer to him, I would say something like, it's starting to smell a bit like Hubert over in this corner. He would be quivering with excitement, knowing I was closing in, but not really knowing how I was detecting him. I would then tickle him, saying, "Found you, little monkey." As theory of mind develops, you are aware that other people have thoughts and feelings that are separate from your own and may be different from your own. Normally, kids develop this awareness between 4 and 5 years old. Some kids can display this awareness much younger, at around 18 months. Theory of mind ability is bound up with having a conscience. For example, kids that consider their actions because they wonder what their parents might think or what the teacher might think are exhibiting theory of mind. The ability to anticipate how others will react based on our experiences gets more sophisticated as we get older. At least that is what is supposed to happen, but what if we are neurodivergent? You guessed it, neurodivergent folk have an underdeveloped theory of mind capacity. It is, I believe, due to one of the 3 deliberate wiring differences in the brain. These 3 core differences are the enlarged amygdala, the 65% higher density of short-range connections in the prefrontal cortex, and the fewer than normal long-range connections there. It is the curtailed long-range connections that bring about the impairments in theory of mind. What we might call healthy autism or neurodivergence without genetic pathology is embedded in the human genome by natural selection over deep evolutionary time. It has broad use cases that stem from the individual being positioned both geographically and emotionally remote from the core of the social group. The use case considerations are as follows: highly sensitive yet vicious guard dogs, warriors or sentinels that are prepared for a glorious death. Independently creative disruptors, philosophers, inventors or adventurers. Expectations of scarcity and the ability to be ruthless when necessary, and increased scope for specialism given the expectation of larger social groups. The higher density of short-range connections in the prefrontal cortex is primarily to aid creativity based on pattern recognition within a systematically repetitive trial and error approach to doing things. Theory of mind research utilizes tests based on the false belief paradigm. A simple example is as follows. Person A puts a ball in a basket and walks out of the room. Person B takes the ball out of the basket and puts it into a box and then walks out of the room. When person A walks back in, the child is asked where person A will look for the ball. A 3-year-old will incorrectly say the box because that is where it is, but a 5-year-old child will correctly say the basket, which is where person A left it. This is to recognize the false belief in the mind of another person. The 3-year-old can't imagine a separate perspective on reality than his own, but the 5-year-old can. There is a joke around autism commentary circles which goes along the lines of, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. It is a joke because there is hidden information in the message. The hidden information is that there is another similar saying which goes along the lines of, if you've met one, you've met them all. The audience laughs to acknowledge awareness of the hidden information. The joker led the audience to believe he was going to make a huge generalization about autistic people all being the same, but then suddenly didn't, and that was not only the joke but also the rhetorical point he wanted to make. Humor is an efficient way of establishing common beliefs, and nature loves efficiency, so it rewards the audience members that get the joke and laugh together with dopamine and oxytocin. But I challenge the rhetoric. The inevitable consequence of a shortage of long-range connections from the prefrontal cortex to the right temporal parietal junction is a key component of narcissism. All children, both neurotypical and neurodivergent, are narcissistic up until the age of about 3. Tyrannical twos, they call it. No empathy. Adult narcissists are like giant toddlers, and these developmental brain differences are the reasons why. I believe that meditations based on compassionate curiosity can physically forge this missing connectivity in the brains of autistic people. It is certainly happening for me in my life, and I am so much happier and calmer these days for it. What is compassionate curiosity exactly? It is an eagerness to know what is in the mind of another with an attitude of unconditional positive regard. We need to connect with our right temporal parietal junction to do this, and we can do it on our own using meditation. Other researchers in the field of autism have discovered that it is specifically the beliefs of others that the right temporal parietal junction is used for. Wow, this is hugely significant. Belief is a profound word indeed, because look at what happened between people of history that had differing beliefs. They fought each other often to the death. Death to non-believers was the war cry. Belief is hugely emotive. Belief is the basis of empire building. It could be impactful in several ways. Let's speculate. 1. Could it primarily be about promoting intellectual disruption and the need to clear the path to new ideas and refined truth? I've always felt myself to have an evangelical devotion to truth. Truth is like my religion. But the harsh and brutal truth can be so horribly upsetting to people whose perception of self-worth is bound up in the status quo. Disruption can overhaul the status quo and reorganize the pecking order, so it is emotive and therefore feels dangerous. You need to be different to be so compelled to be truthful. It hurts, but human society needs creative destruction. False prophets, however, will be crucified. It took Einstein 10 years to get his ideas of relativity accepted by the mainstream. It'll take as long for my ideas to win, but they will eventually, because it is all true. Before I finish this chapter, may I ask you to like and subscribe, and please do make your comments below. I feel more optimistic than ever about the power of meditation to heal. Successfully concluding that the long-range brain connections are our connections to others, and that we can literally put an end to our own suffering by skillfully adjusting these malleable connections, is pure joy in itself. We can redeal the hand we were born with, and the change can happen quickly. I'm amazed at what is happening in my life. Skillful meditation can erase all the negative aspects of autism while retaining all the positives. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.